Hello friends, February the 24th. So we had these three ginormous solar flares just as Venus and Mars started their new 2-year cycle. I had expected something big to occur on that day, and pretty much on schedule. We had a big flare on New Year's Eve, a big flare just hours prior to the Chinese New Year on the 9th of February, initiating the dragon, the wood dragon, which is all about the element wood, which is creativity, and dragon energy naturally, which is standing up and being loud, being dramatic, and leading the way. The dragon is a mystical, mythical animal, and in that sense linked to higher powers. The influence is definitely palpable. It is happening. Just even how the sun is behaving and supporting us with bolts of energy being inserted in this into this reality. Just want to show you this here. What? Okay, let's we get to this in a minute. That's part of the story, but we had these 3 X flares, as it says here, all emerging from this sunspot, which was immediately found to be dangerous when it turned into Earth's vision a few hours prior. That's why they're saying here it's living up to its hype. So in less than 24 hours, yes, we had these 3 spikes. This was the 3rd one. Beautiful picture. You can find that actually if you go to the space weather page, and then let me show you this quickly here as we are on it. If you go here to the top, here you can change the date and just go to February 22nd or 23, and there you can find that particular image. Really a stunning picture in itself, which was the largest solar eruption since September 2017. And what are solar eruptions really? What are these ginormous flares doing? They're inserting X-ray energy. That means electrons highly accelerated and resonating at a super high frequency, which is related to X-rays. And I guess everybody is aware how powerful X-rays are. They can literally be lethal if they are direct and strong. It's just because of Earth's shield, that is our Earth's magnetic field, which is functioning almost like a trampoline cover, bouncing these energies back into space. And then it's the atmosphere, which is all the air, the constitution of the atmosphere, which kind of absorbs a big part of that energy. So very little really comes to the surface. However, Earth as a whole, if you look at it as a organic unity, it gets charged up. And actually what happens when these flares hit, that is actually the moment we are seeing them. They in real time occurred 8 minutes prior. That's how long it takes for the light to travel the distance between Sun and Earth. So the moment we see them, that is the moment of impact, and that is the moment which immediately fries the whole upper part of Earth's atmosphere, and turns it pretty much into a plasma, causing what's called radio blackouts. So all the communication which is used by the technology of radio waves, which are used to bounce up the upper atmosphere and then come back down, being like reflected from a mirror. That's how this all works. So anyway, this is totally disturbed. There is white noise. Nothing is is connected anymore in a way. Everything is linked into a greater reality. So it's really a moment of really similar to a lightning bolt hitting right in front of your house, and you get all that noise, that tremor, and also naturally the enormous overload of electric energy which is passing through the ground, and in some cases, like in 1890, in 1856, 1859 it was to be exact, and then again in 1989 in Quebec, transformer stations were on fire. They melted literally away because of the extra energy which was inserted into electric grid in Quebec, Canada. So anyway, I'm just giving a little bit of the understanding of what big solar flares do, and this was Earth directed. Yes, all three of them. Here you see it once more. Here we are, February the 22nd, and right here, this is about when Venus and Mars had their conjunction. So you really see, it's amazing. It's really a celebration of this renewal. So we should have a peek at the Venus and Mars conjunction. Definitely, I showed it to you briefly, but let's pull it up once more. Yes, I definitely should do that, as we... this is really the event which was celebrated. The three flares around it, they are just the decorations, which makes it ever more outstanding. So here we are. This was the conjunction of Venus and Mars on the 22nd. And what stands out is here this whole group in early Pisces. Interesting is that when Pluto, who is all about, I would say, the archetype of a full-on transformation, which we are going through right now here on planet Earth. So Pluto is super important. So when Pluto turned forward last time, which was on October the 10th, 2023, go back in my archive and you find the recording on this. That moment is super important, and that moment had a whole group of planets in this axis. Yeah, I should quickly show you too as I'm on it, because this is really the foundations of what's going on right now. This is the starting point. This is where things have been set in motion, literally, and now it's on its already has gained quite some momentum, and now with Venus and Mars having this degree here as an ascendant, it literally brings Pluto's power from the deep into the horizon axis, making it palpable, visible, manifest, because this is really these are the four main suspension points of cosmic energies with planet Earth. You really could think of big arms out which are holding the space in place, you could say, or if you look at it from the other direction, it is where Earth is suspended within the universe. It's again a both-sided way of seeing. That's always the thing. We have to literally get into the other's shoes to see reality from the 180-degree perspective. That's what's happening here. And that again is one of the beautiful powers of Pluto. It literally gives us that experience, as Pluto and Charon, its moon, they're locked into each other, and they're rotating around each other once every 6.9 days, actually, roughly a week. So this also is a beautiful synchronicity. But what I want to say, they are mirroring each other. They are giving each other the exact mirror image in the context of the surrounding star field, which is definitely constantly changing, which is the only thing which is literally changing. If they stay transfixed on each other, then they come into a quiet, into a state of no time almost, because everything becomes static, is frozen. However, then Pluto also brings that choice then to either focus on the particular and freeze time, or open to the bigger picture and see the mirror of the other through the over the panorama of what's happening in the behind, so to say. Anyway, this is the foundation of what we're speaking of, and this is a beautiful, beautiful chart. However, super, I would say, explosive, because as you see, there is Gong here at the highest spot, and then here we have that 10th degree of Cancer, which I lately talked about, which is in the Sabian symbols a diamond being cut, and that's literally what we are feeling as individuals and as a collective. I would say is that we are under construction, so that you feel the vibration of that polishing wheel, grinding noise to really get that surface clean and that facet to become a mirror. And that's again the thing also, if the diamond, it is actually a hall of mirrors, very small ones, fractals. So this is a beautiful chart. Yes, super interesting with this black moon here close to Venus, and then the moon, all in hexagram 59 dispersion, which is one of the very spiritual hexagrams in the I Ching. It is wind over water, and the wind naturally is turning the water into mist, into its causes the water to change its phase from fluid into vaporous and therefore disappearing. It is that process of literally transforming your physical body from fluid to vaporous. I guess you get the picture. It's turning into a cloud, literally. That's what this picture shows, this 59. And so it has that natural attraction to really move up one level, to say. And the opposite side is hexagram 55, which is abundance, fullness, another really spiritual hexagram. And that one is, let me say it right, that is fire below and thunder above, right? It's fire and thunder. It is really that. It's described as the moment when the sun is highest in the sky, the power of the midday sun, in its fullness, in its fullest intense interaction with reality. And sure enough, that's what was the case here in these last few days, with the sun now in these degrees. So literally you see also, you can look at this chart as a birth chart in a way. Then you see that the sun meanwhile has now risen and is actually here at 5:56. So we are just getting into the zenith of this chart, which is actually just an insight I'm having this moment live on air. Something really truly remarkable is going on right now. And yes, this is the chart when Venus and Mars 2 days ago were exactly in the same degree, in the 7th degree of Aquarius, which has as a Sabian symbol a child is being born, a child is being born out of an egg. Just imagine this idea of something totally new, a child, and of the highest standard of creation. Well, this might be debatable, but definitely humans are at the crown of creation. If we use our powers rightly, we can even go much farther, much more into the complexity, the multidimensionality and whatnot. But we are definitely growing out of something into something totally new. That's what the child seen being born out of an egg. And the commentary, Rudyard and Rudyard, again, just for those of you who are new, this is one of my beloved little reference books, the Sabian symbols. He says, Dan Rudyard, it can be said to announce the emergence of a global man for the new age. That's literally what he says in there. So this is really the rebirth of a whole new way of living on this planet, and we are definitely able to adjust to that, to invite it, to be open to it, to allow it to come in, and us therefore to become its manifestors. It's the ones who are meant to bring it into biological, intellectual, intelligent form, I should rather say. Yes, intellectual it is too at some level, but it has always to be balanced with the emotional. I guess that's the basic balance point. Heart and head both need to be employed in the investigation for the balance, for the true midpoint to be found. Yes, a beautiful, beautiful chart. Again, 55 at the ascendant of this chart, 55, abundance, fullness. Again, these are numbers of I Ching hexagrams. You can go into your personal I Ching, read these hexagrams, the meaning they have. You will be astonished what the power is of that addition to the zodiac. I strongly recommend those of you who are new here to go into the description below. I always have all the relevant links, and there is the one which links you to my old webpage, which I cannot really work on anymore because I lost access to it, but nevertheless it's still a resource page, and there I have the exact breakdown of which hexagram is which degrees of the zodiac, and this is all based naturally on the human design systems transmissions, which in itself blow you away once you realize its magnitude. Anyway, I'm getting lost here. I just wanted to say this regarding the hexagram 55 fullness and 59 dispersion. And then, okay, now we're getting, you see now the sun has now risen to this point. You see that's where we are, which was born on October 10, 2023. Yeah, you have to go back to that one. And here you have now coming full flowering and bringing this degree to the the ascendant. Yes, that's what it really is. I guess I said it wrongly before. It is the... Well, I guess we looked at it from the other side. There, it is 59 dispersion, yes, and here it is 55 fullness. Fullness is the experience we're having, and this is the what we're seeing as a its balancing point, you could say. It is always what is the negative. If you were into photography, when we still did do that ourselves, develop films and such, then you have the negative, which is exactly the other way around. And then here is AW197. I mean, this is an extremely powerful activation chart, and that's exactly what happened with these 3 super flares. Hexagram 26 up here, that is the taming power of the great. This is a great taming power, the power to tame enormous amounts of energy, bring it into streamline, bring it to coherence. That's and the last section of Sagittarius have the Leo overtone. It's always the first 10 degrees same, mid degrees of Sagittarius therefore have the Aries subtone or overtone, whatever you call it, and the third decan is additional Leo energy. And then we have the moon in Leo. Yes, I mean, just with 2 solar flares before and one still to come, which will be the final one and the biggest one. That's why we definitely have to go back to that too, to look at it once more, what it activated. But the moon in Leo, this in itself, I mean, Leo being the sun's sign, so it was perfect. This was a perfect alignment to bring in that creative power, that creative intent. And the 9th degree of Leo, that is glass blowers shaping beautiful vases with their controlled breathing. Creative intensity is the catchphrase Rudyard gives this design. Creative intensity. Glass blowers, it is using one's breath, and breath is naturally connected with spirit. It's the carrier of spirit, the carrier of the voice, which is manifesting, which is sharing, which is getting into a relationship with its surroundings, starting to interact, all of that. This is the hexagram of really getting yourself heard, I would say. Very loud, and if necessary using a big megaphone. And the source point here in hexagram 45, that is where everything meets, where all the big rivers come together. Let me see, the name of it is well, sometimes I'm lost. Let me see. So you see, I can't have everything in my head. I should, but that's okay. That is what we say hexagram, that was 45. Yes, that's what we said. Gathering together, massing, yes, the fourth and the fifth line both are strong, the rest are weak. So it is really bringing it all onto the main stage, shifting closer together to get the full impact of it, kind of. Gemini energy, very, very playful and full of great ideas, with Vesta down here. Vesta, that's the spiritual intent, you could say. That it's why we're here, what we're here for. It is the goddess in service to keep the flame alive, the flame in the temple. To always put fresh fruit and fresh gifts to the dogs, but most of all keep the light burning. And this is symbolical of always honoring that inner temple we all have, of where we're truly connected to source, where the meaning of life really sprungs from. And that's also why meditation is so important, of looking inward to really find that inner center and become more conscious of it. And for that it will definitely also expand, because whatever you put attention on is growing. The one wolf you feed is the one who will win, as the beautiful story goes. So this is an amazing moment we have just experienced on the 22nd of February at I Count Our Status. This Venus-Mars conjunction is the real deal. Maybe I should say a word to this guy here, which I haven't spoken yet at all, because this is a very new one in my store here. That's Umdima. 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 It took me a while to learn it, to say it even. This is named after an African god. And the short version of the story is, well, that one astrologer, and I will put the link under it, I forget the name, but you will see it if you go into the description. She compared it, or he, I think it's a she compares this little planet's manifestation similar to that agent in that movie, I guess was CIA agent or something, hired to find someone guilty of some crime which was obviously put on the person. Anyway, in the process of investigation, and he first is totally committed to who's in payroll on, I should say, and the more he digs into the case, the more he changes sides and starts to become the advocate for the one who is accused of things, as he discovers over time. But untruthfully. Anyway, this is kind of the transformation this energy is bringing, and that is again exactly what is happening in real time. This is what is the story, and I will illustrate this just with one little example here, which I found kind of telling on all levels you could think of. So government, the French farmers are now planting fields outside the entrance to government buildings in protest against the green agenda. Okay, they're literally plowing the fields and starting to plant potatoes and whatnot, and probably also bring in manure and whatnot. So, I mean, they're literally agents of nature now, accelerating that process of weeds and plants growing up and growing into and kind of breaking the concrete by putting seeds into the cracks. That's what happens. I mean, just look at pictures for I found these really telling. Let's say 20 years after Chernobyl or so, and you get pictures of these houses which people had to pretty much run out of within that emergency. So they had to leave everything behind, and then researchers go back, take photographs 10 years after, and you see how also in Fukushima the similar pictures I have seen of these zones where people are not allowed to go back into, how fast nature takes over. So this is the acceleration process of that. But then the other big news story, which you certainly have come across, and it was the 99 million study, I think it was, of people who had received that medical treatment. Just bringing up here in kind of in between sneaking in this chart I want to talk about in a minute. That was the peak intensity spike here in these flares. You see, that was this one here. That was the one which really outdid even the one we had on New Year's Eve, which was 5.0, which is 5 times the magnitude of x1. This is a logarithmic scale. Every next level is double the before. So 5 was here, and now we are at 6.4. So this is really a huge energy impulse which was brought in, and we will look at this in a minute. But what I want to say, the 99 million, and again this number is interesting in itself, shows utter completion. Whatever you might think about 99 million versus how many really were there receiving the whole thing, doesn't matter, but it is a symbolic number, close to perfect. That is what it means, and it pretty much shows that now this whole discussion has come into the mainstream. They finally had to do something about it. You could call it starting to control the narrative and kind of slightly bypass the really hot zones and just belittling it and whatnot. But nevertheless, it's out, and this is big. This is, I mean, I guess 70% of humanity were undergoing that treatment. Luckily, there were about 30% who were able to stay away from it for whatever reason, which were more than they had calculated. So they didn't really get the quota they needed to be successful. And these 30 meanwhile have multiplied what was 30 before, who were standing on the other side of the game. Many already have changed sides, and that is, let me go back to this chart. I'm really thinking these are the main few charts which I want to focus on today. I have many others, but okay, yes, now I just lost my train of thought. 1 sec, I will get back onto it if I go back to where I was. Right, that's where I was. So, okay. Yes, the big realization protest, people are really exploding into almost all over the globe. It's like a dam that is breaking, and we had Jupiter and TX 300. I mean, this in itself was a really powerful conjunction, which was pumping up Jupiter. You could think of TX 300, this is the big truck Jupiter is getting into to drive himself around. Trucker's convoy, that's kind of my connection there. TX 300, one of the Kuiper Belt objects, which was not yet been given names. Okay, I'm deviating, now I'm getting back on track. This is the one we were talking about, K'umdima. After that African deity who implies this amazing transformation from changing the side they are working for, moving away from the one they have been financed by and still probably are, without the sources knowing that source who feeds them knowing that meanwhile they have changed sides. So it is really what I have said will happen at some point, and that's exactly the signature of that. Beautiful with Vesta here on the other side. So it becomes almost a religious duty to change, to ally up with nature. That's basically what it is, with what is real versus what is artificial. I mean, also already this should tell you. I mean, I keep saying it. Whatever is artificial, in the end, you only have to do is pull the plug. It's simple. It's not that hard, really, in the end, because nature always wins. It's only a matter of time. Matter of patience too. Nature is extremely patient, and it seems nature has just about reached that point of losing patience. Okay, that is the chart in this context I want to show you here. No, it's not this one here, it's this one here. Okay, that was earlier today when the Sun and Gong Gong had their exact meeting at 5:15 Pisces. Here you see OR10. That was its former designation, 2007 OR10. Now named Gong Gong after the Chinese water dragon, the one who rams its head into Earth, causing it to tilt and the rivers to go the other way around. Really dramatic story, which definitely could be one of its expressions. We definitely have to keep that open. We do not really know yet, but most probable it is. But what even more so is the case, it's the mental realization that something has not gone the way I wanted it to go, and is banging your head. Why didn't I see this coming, kind of? And this is Uranus at the helm. I mean, what can you say? This is again a textbook chart, and this was just short before full moon, still in the wake of all these powerful flares. And I mean, today, just actually surrounding this event at 9:20 a.m. Universal Time, we had those two events, two M flares at 6:34 in the morning, and the second one at 11:18 a.m. and this was 9:20 a.m. So you see, really framed in. So if you go back to this picture here, then you see that was here in between these two spikes. Definitely very strong flares. These were in itself M 4.5 and 3.6. Again, you have the 9s in there. And so here we have them. Let me show you those two flares. What they had in common was that 21st degree of Aquarius. 21st degree of Aquarius. The first flare you see had that degree here at the ascendant. And by the time the second flare hit, I mean, it's easier to see it on the midpoint and on the midheaven position, the change. See, from 13 degrees Sag to 20 degrees 21 Aquarius. So literally what was when this point was at the midheaven, and meanwhile has traveled down here. So, but the interesting is that what is the ascendant here becomes the midheaven here. So it has moved pretty much a full circle. Okay, now you're probably curious that 21st degree of Aquarius. Let's start with that one. Sorry for the noise, it's my chair. I really don't know what to do with it. I guess I have to get another chair. Therefore, thank you for always supporting me in all ways possible. First of all, to tune in and listen through the whole show, not just a few minutes. Anyway, I know it's a lot of information. I sometimes suggest just stop in the middle and continue tomorrow if it's too much at once, too dense. And you will actually catch up to it at some point if you keep listening. I'm keeping repeating myself over time anyway. It's always the same characters in that big soap opera, which really the astrological family is, all the different characters, the heavenly characters. So yeah, you get acquainted with the different characters over time. So just hang in there. Enjoy it for what it is. First, 21st degree of Aquarius. This is in the emotional cultural degrees, which is always interesting when we want to learn something about how something expresses in a more collective way. These are the degrees definitely which foremost are that kind of expression. Now it says, a disappointed and disillusioned woman courageously faces a seemingly empty life. At the emotional level, we now see a woman, which is the feminine receptivity of each of us. We all have a woman part in us, also men, as you probably certainly know. So that woman part of us is confronted with sharp disappointment and is forced to face the vanishing of cherished illusions, presumably in terms of a close personal relationship. Now, do we ever have a close personal relationship with reality, with what we call reality? So we learn through this degree to manage crises which are really tests of inner strength and perhaps compassion. I love that. It's so much on track. And the entire thing urges us to develop resilience under adversity. Yes, this is the message of today. In both flares, here it says the ascendant, and here at the midheaven. Again, both flares happened short before full moon, just hours before full moon. And again, framing this event, the Sun Gong Gong conjunction. Again, when the Sun gives something attention, then it's big. So bear with me, this chart will prove to become quite activated. With Uranus on the rising, I guess it's no surprise when we think of earthquakes and volcanoes and all kinds of natural events bringing that Uranian energy down to Earth. This is literally Earth losing its temper. That's what I see. And magnified with Jupiter joining here with Uranus. Actually, it's really approaching fast. The most intense phase is between, I would say, roughly March 10 and March 15. Coming up very soon. Lots of heliocentric conjunctions we will have in these few days. Stay tuned. Definitely click the subscription thing so you are in the loop. So, okay, which direction shall I go here from here on? Okay, I really want to come back to this one, though. This was the main spark, the main bolt which was sent our way. But before that already, and now we go to the heliocentric perspective. Okay, let me show you this. This was the first flare of the 3 axes. With, in the heliocentric perspective, Mercury perfectly at the source point. Yeah, it's all about perception. That's what the Aquarian Mercury particularly is, very scientific and detached in a way, just being really able to navigate duality, to see that yes, it matters to look at something from 2 angles, to get it into its 3D perception, to really get that image of its depth and height and width. All the dimensions become visible when we look in stereo vision. And that same degree, I mean, it's epic. You see, this was the second flare, no, the first one, 11:07 p.m. on the 21st. And then the second one, which was 40 minutes before the Venus-Mars conjunction, had that same degree at the ascendant. Again, Aquarius. See, it's the same signs over and again too. Aquarius and Leo. And that is an interesting pair of degrees, that 16th and I've jumped 16th, the 16th and the 17th degree of Aquarius. So the 16th degree that's a big businessman at his desk. The ability to organize the many aspects of an enterprise involving a large group of individuals. I guess it's pretty much everyone. And to say it again, because it was really my upbeat experience when the whole pandemic started, and not in February, March 2020. The whole planet started to move on sync and the same wavelength, had the same experience at the same time. I was extremely excited about that. I said, that's the start. That's really the spark of uniting humanity into one. And that was the prediction we got from the project Looking Glass. I'm really going back to that interview with between Bill Woods and the lady from Avalon. Anyway, I'm stopping right here. You probably know what I'm talking about. And I might put the link under it, because it's really, this is also a powerful information, which helps a lot to understand what has been going on the last, whatever, many years where we are building towards. So it is this ability to manage an enterprise involving large groups of individuals. And then the 17th degree, interestingly, and that one I want to read you, because I have not taken note of that. Here we are. So the 17th of Aquarius, that's what is rising here, and where Mercury is heliocentrically. That second flare, just short before the Venus-Mars conjunction. So it's like two warnings, or two different instructions. The first one is to learn to manage large amounts of people and organize, and in that sense, it's organization is what Rudyard says, coining a word here, organization. It's an organic organization and management in resonance to nature. Super important. So that was the 15th, and then the 16th, and now the 17th is a watchdog stands guard, protecting his master and his possessions. At this second stage, we see the individual able to master natural energies which he enlists in his service, so he may pursue his individualized work of destiny in security. Okay, now we have to really put very clear lines in the sand. That's what I'm getting out of that too. To stake out the ground. Another aspect of the relationship of individualized to society. Okay, I read this sentence again. Another aspect of the real relationship of individual to society. So it is really that interface of coming to a clear picture that a meeting of the two has to be harmonized and put in balance. That's what it kind of says. Okay, now something else which is, I mean, there's so many things which stand out of these charts. This was one I wanted to show you. Now I go back to this one here for a second. That was the largest one with the 9th degree of Leo here at the helm, and that was the degree where the moon was on that second flare, the 9th degree of Leo. Yeah, that's the glass blowers, I guess already we covered that. The glass blower again using his breath in a very controlled way to create this beautiful vase with all the iridescent colors you could think of. It is really forming the new world in a very conscious and directed manner to bring that child out of the egg. Okay, I guess, let me see if there's anything else. Yes, there is definitely something else which I wanted to show you. Yes, full moon. I guess we should look at full moon, as today is full moon too. So you see, we had, just to recapitulate, Gong Gong at 9:20 a.m. Then that first flare at 6:34, 11:18, and the full moon at 12:30. That's kind of the culmination of the day, for sure. I mean, yeah, full moon, obviously, it is the culmination. Saturn was right at midheaven at the time in Greenwich. So the theme is Saturn. And Saturn is in the 10th degree of Pisces, and that's another really telling degree, exactly showing what's going on, telling us the story. Tenth degree Pisces, an aviator pursues his journey, flying through ground obscuring clouds. Man's ability to develop powers and skills which by transcending natural limitations allow him to operate in mental spiritual realms. Okay, now we're talking. And this is the last symbol of this 68 five-fold sequence. It's always from first degree to the 4th, and then from the 5th to the 9th. So 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees. Each 5 degrees is a sequence, and the 5th is almost always the culmination. In this case, the 5th-fold sequence of evolving stages of consciousness and human activity, it evokes the achievement of mastery. Nothing short than mastery. Yes, that's where we are heading, and I keep saying this is the most perfect, ideal timeline we're on. That has been my understanding, my observation, pretty much since 2020, I would say, because everything exactly showed itself. Yes, I learned over time to read better and to understand better. I'm really I'm learning by doing. This is who I am. I've always been doing that. I always wanted to try out myself and find my own ways around it, and yeah, I'm very happy I find the cherries in the pie, usually, if I'm looking hard enough. Moon in Scorpio, a researcher. I really like to zoom in on the things. Anyway, so what I want to say is this is a time of sobering up, of really getting to the core of the chapter, to the consolidation. This is really what I'm calling it, a consolidation, to come to make peace with what is. I guess that's one way of saying it. It is to accept that this is the situation we are given by existence, to come out on the other end in an upgraded form. And naturally, everything has been charged up and is put into turbulent states of confusion and not knowing. Everything is uncertain. Pretty much everyone is aware by these times that what is propagandized and propagandized. Yes, sometimes I'm struggling with words. Propagandized, that is not really what is true, and nobody knows what is true, and this is kind of a really interesting place to be to start with, as it opens the gates for starting to think on one's own. It's really almost pushing you over the cliff. You can't avoid it. You have to really be either yes, well, sadly to say, probably intentionally disabled by whatever they did to you. But again, everything can be overcome, and we can help each other, we can hold each other by our hands, and it is important because these beings have been victims of mind control. That's how we should see it. This is a highly perfected scheme they have developed. It's actually a miracle that so many people have not fallen for it, have over time started to build immunity against its influences. But we are at the point of culmination. There is no question in that. There's so many signs. Just even think of this one here, the lunar node and the Chiron here in conjunction over weeks to come, still in very close conjunction. The exact meeting actually was on the 17th of February of those 2 points. So anyway, Saturn is in the crosshair here. Consolidation of collective intent, I wrote here in my notes. And this is definitely confirmed by the next few charts, and I really just browse fastly through them. This one I threw in just because of this resonance. You see, this is the Virgo full moon, which is the grounding of that new how shall I say that? I mean, the full moon is a culmination moment. It is when everything is most visible, most exposed, and then from there on it starts to become understood what it really expressed itself as, and in the waning half moon then we are able to apply the shifts and changes we have learned since its fullness. So it is really that culmination point. And that same degrees, the 13th of Cancer and Capricorn, are accentuated in the Mars-Jupiter square chart. Jupiter 1052, Mars 1052. And you see the 13th degree here now becomes the vertical. So what we could say is this lunar snapshot of this is where we are at is brought to a grounding. It's used as a platform to act out of, and in that sense, with that Capricorn energy here at the helm, and if we look at the I Ching hexagrams, this is obstruction and opposition. 39 and 38. Do you want to look them up? Mars-Jupiter square, by the way, I guess I should give you a little bit of a meaning to that. And it is the waning square. The Mars closes in on Jupiter, so it is really that moment of realizing something has to change. What are we going to do about the situation and taking decisive action? I would say it can be actually overreaching its target. There's such a strong power, particularly again with that big loud voice it is getting from TX 300. And Venus is still very close here in conjunction with Mars. Yeah, this energy comes really, this is then that breaking of the shell, you could say. That child is getting out and becoming fully grown up conscious very fast and taking on its job and activating things. Okay, then now this is really where we're going to, and day after that we have the Mercury Sun superior conjunction. Guess what? In the 10th degree, that degree of mastery. Yeah, this is the most critical time of the game we are going through between now and end of June, I would roughly say. This is the time of transformation. It's obvious. Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, heliocentric, on the 14th of March, say it again. And on the geocentric level, it will be on April the 21st. 2 days definitely to mark on your calendar. Very intense weeks. Time to be prepared to just stay in your house and enjoy yourself. Have that backing of stuff. I really strongly advise you. It will be loud and big what's coming on all levels simultaneously. Because you see, I'm going to show you one more thing here. 2049, that is where the moon is when Mercury is perfectly behind the sun from our perspective, from Earth's point of view. Here is Earth. It's the peak point of the Earth, Sun, Mercury rhythm, of which is roughly 4 months. So this really where again something becomes clearly visible, seen, is framed in. It's that opposition point again where inventory is taken, and from there on, based on what has been perceived in that moment, that is the starting point of transformation, of changing it. Okay, so we were thinking of speaking of this degree 2049, because just hours later, when the sun is exactly conjunct Saturn, so here we have 8:40 in the morning, you see, and then by 9:25 in the evening on that same day, that degree is rising. Exactly that 2049. You can't make these things up. It's just really, existence is so perfectly exact. If you just know how to read it, that 21st degree of Libra, naturally this is kind of now really framing it. That is the target, that's where we are going finally. That's the last station of this present course, you could say, the final hole in the golf tournament, one might say. So let's see what the 21st of Libra says. A Sunday crowd enjoying the beach. Nice, I guess we're moving in the right direction. Yes, consolidation, I guess that's the other word I would keep really in mind, and mastery. And once you are consolidated and you have mastered the game, then you can meet at the beach. I guess that's what it means. Anyway, the comment here, the keynote, a revivifying contact with the mother force of nature and of social togetherness. Beautiful. The sea is the vast matrix from which living organisms originally emerged. It also symbolizes the collective unconscious, the matricial envelope of the biosphere within each consciousness takes its individualized form. And then he keeps saying it is very good and healthful for one's mind to become revitalized by collective experiences and deep feelings of undifferentiated unity as the many merge in the vast refreshment of the planetary mother, the ocean, where she is most dynamic, unlimited and unconfined by boundaries. The foundation on which coming developments will be based. It is in a sense a biodynamic foundation. An oceanic feeling born of attunement to the most basic rhythms of existence. I do like that a lot. And then we have the moon at 28 degree Libra, and again I would like to read it to you because again it's super meaningful. A man becoming aware of spiritual forces surrounding and assisting him. Yes, the more we are relaxing within the whole unfolding of reality around us, the more we are relaxing, the more we become able to see there's some magic going on here. For example, today, I mean, I see it all the time, these license plates when I go shopping and so here in town, which have these amazing synchronicities, 777s, 444s. It's more of the rule on license plates. Today, there happened to be multiple lanes and we were at the stoplight and the car on the left had the exact same 4 numbers in sequence as the car in front of me. 2401. I found this yet another really interesting upgrade from synchronicities in my personal life. As I say, they're everywhere. You just have to open your eyes to them. And in astrology particularly, it's such a wonderful job I'm having here to share with you these. Yeah, it's utter perfection. It's really like studying a snowflake under a microscope. That's kind of how it feels. The 28th degree of Pisces, of Libra, yes, a man becoming aware of spiritual forces surrounding and assisting him. And the moon naturally is the one which we all vibrate on emotionally on the same frequency. That's what the moon is really, the one which changes the moods and the colors of our experiences by the day, so to say. That's what we all have in common. That's why the moon is such a uniting force. The moon is connected to water, to the ocean again, which we just were speaking about. And the moon is in a T-square here with this powerful vertical axis. Just to say, the one planet I think of when I see this degree is Pluto in the American Nations Foundation chart, which is July the 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence, which was the starting point, the seed planting for the whole new era to come. That's how I see it. And we're just coming out of the childhood stage. Yes, there's a really difficult transformation going on right now with the American nation. This was pretty much, I could see it, even though I didn't really look that far ahead, because I really basically don't like doing that. I like to have surprises, but it's definitely very, very obvious and clear. Pluto in the American chart is here at this point, 2732. I mean, this is really setting us onto a track, this whole sequence of events, into the last day of this month. Actually, we will have the bonus day this year, as you know, the 29th of February. I leave it at this. Again, thank you for being here and staying to the very end. That is definitely most appreciated. And talk to you soon. Love you all. Enjoy the ride. Fall in love with your roller coaster. It's really worth it. Relax. Nothing can go wrong. Everything is already here. We just have to still manifest it. But the blueprints are already here. It's all just falling in place in a very natural and magical way. Thank you. Talk to you soon.